The arrival of the galaxy was not at peace, not even for a moment. Everywhere warships cut through the black of space, firing energy beams and missiles that lit the void with deadly colors. Planets trembled under the weight of constant battles, and civilizations whispered in fear about the coming of something new, something unstoppable on the edge of a distant star system. A small human scouting fleet moved cautiously, scanning the dark expanse for signs of enemy activity. Commander Rylan of the flagship Aurora stared at the blinking radar, tension tightening his chest. "Sensors are picking something unusual," he said, his voice low, almost afraid to disturb the silence of space. "What kind of unusual?" Lieutenant Sora asked, her fingers hovering over the console, eyes wide with anticipation. "Not sure yet," Rylan replied, "but it's enormous, and it moves differently from anything we've ever seen." As the fleet edged closer, a shadow emerged from the darkness, larger than any starship they had ever encountered. Its hull shimmered with a strange light, quantum energy lines running across it like veins, its surface impenetrable to every sensor. The humans stared in disbelief. "By the stars? What is that?" muttered Ensign Kale, his voice trembling. "It can't be human." Rylan shook his head, eyes fixed on the figure drifting silently through the void. "It is human," he said finally, almost as if saying it aloud could make it more real. "This is the Quantum-Locked Battleship Invictus." The fleet could feel the power radiating from it, not just in energy, but in something deeper, a presence that seemed to command respect, fear, and all at once. No enemy weapons could touch it. No asteroid, no gravitational anomaly. The ship moved with the precision of a living being, as if it knew the future far away across the galaxy. Alien fleets received the same reports. Panic spread like wildfire, messages buzzed through comm channels. Human superweapons sighted in Sector 9 Theta. Prepare defenses immediately. This is impossible. On the bridge of Invictus, Admiral Kalen watched the galaxy through the panoramic viewport, calm and collected, though his eyes reflected the weight of responsibility. This ship was not just a weapon, it was a symbol, a declaration. Humanity had built something no one could ignore. "Engage stealth approach," Kalen commanded, and the massive ship shimmered, quantum locks activating, making it almost invisible to enemy scanners. The crew worked in perfect harmony, moving like one mind, one will, ready to unleash their power when the moment came. Back in the scouting fleet, Sora whispered, "I've never seen anything like this. It's like the stars themselves bend around it." Rylan nodded, gripping the armrest. "It's more than just a ship. It's the last hope of humanity," he said, though even he did not fully understand the extent of its power. Suddenly, the sensors blinked wildly, detecting a fleet approaching fast. Alien warships, sleek, deadly, and confident. They had no idea what awaited them. The Invictus moved with silent speed, cutting through the void like a blade, closing the distance to the enemy, its quantum shields glowing brighter. Ready to absorb anything thrown at it, the humans on the bridge felt a thrill. A rush of courage and fear mixed together. "Target locked," said the weapons officer, voice steady. "All systems ready for engagement." But Kalen did not immediately give the command to fire. He paused, eyes scanning the endless dark, knowing that this first strike would decide more than a battle. It would decide the fate of countless worlds outside. The stars reflected off the battleship's hull, creating a spectacle of light and shadow, and then, with a sudden surge, the Invictus fired a beam of energy so powerful it tore through the first wave of alien ships, leaving them scattered and burning in the vacuum. The scouting fleet watched in awe. Some could barely comprehend what they had seen. Sora's voice trembled as she said, "It It destroyed them in one strike. Kalen remained calm, though inside he felt the weight of every life aboard. Every decision made, this was only the beginning. The galaxy had seen the arrival of the indestructible human battleship, and it would never be the same again. Whispers spread through the enemy lines, fear turning into panic. The humans? They are unstoppable, one alien commander said, shaking with disbelief. We are finished if we face that alone, but Kalen knew the war was far from over. Other enemies lurked in shadows, waiting, watching, ready to test humanity's might. Yet the Invictus sailed on, silent, unstoppable. Carrying the hopes of an entire species, the galaxy held its breath as the arrival of the human battleship had begun. And no one would ever forget it. The stars shone cold and distant. But for the humans aboard, there was fire, determination, and courage as the Invictus moved toward the unknown, ready to carve a new history among the stars. The first strike, the Invictus moved through the dark expanse of space, silent and deadly, its quantum shields glowing faintly as it approached the heart of the enemy fleet. Admiral Kalen watched the readings carefully, each blip on the screen representing a possible threat, but none of them fazed him. The humans aboard had trained for this moment for years. "Captain Rylan, bring us within firing range," Kalen ordered. Voice calm but firm, the bridge crew moved in perfect coordination. Hands flying over controls, lights blinking, alarms muted. Hearts pounding with anticipation. Outside, the enemy fleet stretched across the void. Hundreds of ships, sleek and armed with the latest weapons. They had no idea what awaited them. Their sensors could not even detect the full power of the Invictus. The first wave of enemy fighters surged forward, fast and deadly, lasers cutting through space toward the human scouts. But before they could reach their targets, the Invictus released a pulse of energy so strong that it tore through the fighters like paper, sending debris spinning in the void. Direct hit. All targets neutralized, the weapons officer reported, eyes wide with excitement. A mixture of fear and pride in her voice. Kalen nodded. "Prepare for the main fleet," he said. Knowing that the real test was yet to come, this first wave was only a warning, a taste of the battleship's true power. The human crew moved with precision, each system synchronized. The quantum-locked hull absorbed the enemy's counterattacks without even a scratch. Alien missiles exploded harmlessly against the shimmering shields, lasers bounced off like water droplets. And the humans watched, calm and focused. In the enemy command center, panic spread quickly. "How is this possible?" shouted one officer, his hands shaking. "Our weapons. They can't touch it. Focus fire. Don't let it reach the core." Another commander yelled, but it was too late. The Invictus had already closed the distance, its main cannons powering up. Glowing with deadly energy, Kalen gave the order. Fire, and the bridge shook with the power of the first strike. The energy beam tore through the lid alien battleship, cutting it in half, sending it spinning into the void. Smaller ships exploded in a chain reaction. The battlefield lit up with fire and destruction. Raylan turned to the crew, eyes shining. "They underestimated us. They thought they could stop humanity," he said, a smile breaking through his tense expression. The crew cheered quietly, but no one celebrated too loudly. They knew the war was far from over, even as the Invictus moved forward. Enemy ships tried to regroup, launching a coordinated attack. But every move was anticipated, every strike blocked, and every counter measured perfectly. The humans had become more than warriors, they were a force of nature. Lieutenant Sora watched the destruction unfold, amazed. "It's like the ship is alive. It knows exactly what to do," she whispered. Almost in awe, Kalen did not answer, his focus absolute. He understood the importance of this moment. the first strike would be remembered across the galaxy. It would set the tone for humanity's rise among the stars. The alien fleet commander, a tall being with a head like a crescent moon, watched helplessly, fury and fear mixing in his mind. "They are not just strong. They are clever," he muttered, knowing that brute force alone would not win this war. Back on the Invictus, Kalen prepared for the next phase. "Deploy fighter squadrons," he said. The hangar doors opened, and dozens of human fighters streamed into space, weaving between enemy ships, striking with precision. Their attacks coordinated perfectly with the battleship's main weapons. The aliens tried to counter, sending in heavier ships. But the Invictus anticipated every move, its quantum-locked hull bending space slightly, allowing it to dodge attacks almost before they were fired. The humans laughed quietly at the absurdity of how easily their enemies failed. As the battle continued, reports came in. Enemy casualties rising faster than ever recorded in galactic history, yet the human losses were zero. Every strike calculated, every defense flawless. The humans had turned the first battle into a display of both power and intelligence. Kalen looked at the stars beyond, knowing this was only the beginning. The Invictus had proven itself in the first strike, but the galaxy was full of surprises. Other forces would rise, and humanity would have to face challenges greater than this. But for now, the first strike was complete. The human battleship had shown the galaxy its strength. The aliens had learned fear, and humans had learned that courage, strategy, and unity could create a weapon greater than any machine alone. And as the Invictus sailed silently through the remnants of the destroyed enemy fleet, the stars seemed to shine brighter, reflecting the promise of human ingenuity, determination, and the unyielding spirit that no force in the galaxy could easily silence. The war had only begun, but humanity had made its first statement. Clear, unstoppable, and unforgettable. The challenge the Invictus moved through space, leaving a trail of silence and fear behind it. The first strike had destroyed a massive enemy fleet, yet the galaxy was far from safe. Hidden threats stirred in the darkness, waiting for their chance. Admiral Kalen studied the incoming reports, his face calm but his mind sharp. "Enemy reinforcements are approaching," he said, pointing to the holographic display. "Dozens of new fleets, faster, stronger, and more cunning than the last. Their weapons untested, their tactics unknown." Captain Ryland tightened his grip on the console, eyes scanning the void. "They are coming from multiple directions," he said. "They want to trap us," Kalen nodded slowly. "Good, let them try," he replied, a slight smile crossing his face. "We will show them why humanity does not back down." The first wave of reinforcements appeared like shadows against the stars. Alien ships of strange design, their movements unpredictable. They did not attack immediately, instead surrounding the Invictus, testing its defenses, probing for weakness. Lieutenant Sora's hands flew over her console. "Scanning patterns, they are trying to confuse us. But the Invictus adapts faster than their maneuvers," she said. A hint of pride in her voice, Kalen stood, eyes locked on the holographic battle map. "This is not just a fight of firepower," he said. "It is a test of strategy, patience, and understanding the enemy." The aliens began their assault. A coordinated strike from all sides, missiles streaked through space, lasers cutting trails across the void, yet the Invictus moved with silent precision, dodging, absorbing, and deflecting every attack. Its quantum shields glowing brighter with each impact. "Shields holding at 100%, reported the engineer. Voice steady, though the tension on the bridge was palpable. No damage detected. The enemy seemed to anticipate every move the humans made. Their tactics were clever, forcing the crew to think quickly. Kellen's orders were calm, precise, each decision a step ahead, keeping the Invictus alive and ready to strike back. Outside, small skirmishes erupted. Human fighters weaving through enemy fire, taking down ships one by one. Their movements synchronized with the battleship. Like an extension of its will, Raylan glanced at the Admiral. "They are stronger than the last fleet, sir. They won't break so easily," he said, concern in his voice. Kellen's eyes narrowed. "Strength alone will not win this," he said quietly. "They lack imagination. We will use that against them." Suddenly, sensors detected a strange energy signature ahead. Unlike anything seen before, a massive object, cloaked in darkness. Moving in the shadows, pulsing with power, Kalen frowned. "This is no ordinary fleet. Something is coming." The human crew held their breath as the shape grew closer, revealing an enormous alien superweapon. A battleship unlike any other, larger and deadlier. Its hull bristling with unknown technology, energy shields glowing a dark red. Pulsing like a heartbeat, Lieutenant Sora whispered, It's huge. How can anything this big move so fast?" Raylan's jaw tightened. "We are about to find out." Kellen's hands moved over the console, issuing orders with calm precision. "Engage evasive maneuvers, prepare all weapons. This ship will test every skill we have." The alien superweapon opened fire, releasing beams of energy that bent space itself. The Invictus dodged and absorbed the attacks, but the strain on the shields was noticeable. A slight tremor ran through the hull. Impact detected. "Shields at 85%, the engineer shouted. Though there was no panic, only sharp focus, Kalen stood, staring at the approaching enemy. "We have faced impossible odds before. We will survive this too," he said. His voice steady, inspiring confidence. The battle intensified. The alien superweapon striking with intelligence, anticipating human maneuvers. The smaller enemy ships attacking simultaneously. Testing every limit, the humans adapted, countering each move with strategy and precision. The bridge crew worked like a single organism, each command precise, each decision critical. The Invictus responded as if alive, its quantum systems analyzing, predicting, and acting faster than any human mind could alone. Ryland felt the tension rise. "They are smart. But we are smarter," he muttered, eyes locked on the enemy, ready to strike when the moment came. Kalen nodded. "Patience. Wait for the opening," he said, knowing that the humans' greatest weapon was not just the Invictus, but their courage, ingenuity, and unity. Suddenly, a weak point appeared in the alien superweapon's formation. A gap in its shields, barely noticeable. Kellen's eyes lit up. "There? Prepare the main cannons." The bridge erupted in focused action. Weapons powering up, targeting systems locking on. The humans ready to turn the tide of this deadly challenge. And as the Invictus prepared for its counterattack, the galaxy watched silently. The challenge had begun, and humanity's brilliance would be tested like never before. The first true obstacle in their path had appeared, more powerful than any before, but the humans aboard the battleship were ready, their courage unwavering, their minds sharp, their hearts united. And the story of the Invictus continued, unstoppable, indestructible, and determined to prove that humanity would not bow to any force in the stars. The revelation, the void of space, was filled with tension. The Invictus faced its greatest challenge yet. The alien superweapon loomed ahead, massive and deadly, its energy pulsating like a heartbeat, radiating power that even the humans could feel through the hull. Admiral Kalen stood on the bridge, calm but focused, eyes scanning every movement, every fluctuation in the alien shields. "This is not a normal enemy," he said, voice steady. "It has technology we have never seen before. Captain Raylan tightened his grip on the console. Their main ship? It's almost the same size as the Invictus, sir. But it moves faster, anticipates our attacks, he said. Worry creeping into his tone, Kalen nodded slowly. Then we fight not with strength alone, but with our minds, he replied. They underestimate humanity. That is our advantage. The alien commander, a tall, imposing figure with glowing eyes, watched the human battleship with a mixture of fear and respect. They are clever. Too clever, he muttered, his voice echoing through the alien command chamber. We must adapt quickly. The Invictus fired its main cannons. Energy beams slicing through the darkness, but the alien superweapon shifted, absorbing the attacks with shields that glowed dark red, bending the beams harmlessly around it. Shields holding strong, the weapons officer reported, a hint of frustration in her voice. Our attacks aren't breaking through. Kellen's eyes narrowed. Then we change strategy, he said calmly. We lure it, create an opening, and strike where it cannot defend. The humans aboard moved like one mind, each crew member anticipating the others, maneuvering the ship with precision, their small fighter squadrons weaving through enemy fire, creating distractions, striking weak points in the alien formation. Lieutenant Sora watched the enemy superweapon carefully, noticing subtle patterns in its movements. It's predictable. In small ways, she said, pointing to the display. If we exploit this, we can gain the upper hand. Kellen's lips curved into a small smile. Exactly, Sora. That is what it means to be human, he said. A spark of pride in his eyes. We do not rely on brute force alone. We think, we adapt, we conquer. The alien commander's ship fired again, releasing a wave of energy that distorted space itself. The Invictus shook as the shields absorbed the blow. Warning lights flickered, and the crew held their breath, knowing that one mistake could be catastrophic. Raylan barked orders, evasive maneuvers. Fighters flanked from the sides. The human squadrons darted like comets, lasers firing, explosions lighting up the darkness. Small ships colliding with enemy forces, causing chaos and confusion. Kalen saw the opening he had been waiting for. A tiny gap in the alien superweapon shields. Almost imperceptible, but enough. Main cannons, focus fire. Now, he commanded, voice sharp and unyielding. The Invictus fired, the energy beams cutting through the void with blinding intensity. Hitting the weak point precisely, the alien shields flickered and strained. Sparks of energy dancing across its hull, the alien commander growled. Realizing the humans had found the flaw, impossible. How could they see it? He shouted, panic and anger in his voice. We must retreat and regroup. But retreat was not an option for the humans. They pressed the attack, coordinating every move with precision, exploiting the weakness. Their courage and intelligence combined into a single unstoppable force as the alien superweapon weakened. Smaller ships around it faltered, their formation breaking. Confusion spreading like wildfire. Kalen watched carefully, guiding the Invictus through the chaos. Every decision perfect, every maneuver deliberate. Raylan looked at the Admiral, awe in his eyes. They are falling apart. We're actually winning, he said. Hardly believing it, Kalen did not relax. Victory is not certain until the last enemy is neutralized, he reminded the crew. Calm and focused, the bridge tense with anticipation. The alien commander realized his mistake too late. The humans had combined courage, strategy, and technology to outsmart him. His superweapon was failing. Sparks of energy leaking from critical systems, shields flickering dangerously. With one final coordinated strike from the Invictus and its squadrons, the alien superweapon erupted in a blinding explosion, debris scattering across the void. The human crew stared in awe at what they had achieved. Their ship unharmed, their mission successful. Kalen allowed himself a small nod. This is what it means to be human. Clever, brave, unstoppable, he said softly, pride in his voice. Rylan exhaled, relief and triumph flooding him. We did it. We actually did it, he whispered, looking at the stars. Realizing that humanity had proven itself in a way no one had imagined. Yet, even in victory, Kellen's eyes scanned the darkness beyond. This is only the beginning, he said quietly. Other threats wait in the shadows. The galaxy is not safe yet. The humans aboard the Invictus had faced their greatest challenge. Learned the true power of strategy and proven that courage and intelligence could overcome even the deadliest foes. And as the battleship moved forward through the stars, ready for the next challenge, the galaxy watched silently, knowing that the humans had arrived not as conquerors, but as a force that would change the course of history. The revelation was clear. Strength alone did not win battles, but the combination of ingenuity, bravery, and unity made humans unstoppable, and the Invictus stood as a symbol of that truth. The stars shone cold and distant, but for the crew aboard the Invictus, hope burned bright. The challenge had been met, but greater tests awaited, and humanity would be ready, unbroken, and unyielding. The triumph. The Invictus drifted through the remnants of the destroyed alien fleet. Silent and powerful, the glow of distant stars reflecting off its quantum-locked hull. The human crew felt a mix of relief and vigilance. Knowing the war was far from over, Admiral Kalen stood on the bridge. Calm as ever, his eyes scanning the void. The enemy is retreating. For now, he said, voice steady, but our work is not finished. Captain Rylan nodded, gripping his console. They will regroup. They always do, he said, tension in his voice. No pride shone behind it, but we've shown them what humanity can do. The smaller human squadrons returned from their strikes. Fighters battered but victorious, piloted by crews smiling with quiet satisfaction. Their courage and skill had turned the tide of battle. And the aliens had learned a lesson they would not forget. Prepare for pursuit, Kalen ordered. We will not let them escape to fight another day. The crew moved swiftly, following orders with precision, their movements seamless, as if the Invictus and its humans were one. The alien forces tried to hide, fleeing toward deep space. But humanity's reach was vast, and the Invictus moved like a predator through the stars. Unstoppable, unyielding, as the humans closed in, reports came in of alien worlds sending messages of surrender, fear spreading among their ranks. Whispers of humanity's power reaching even the furthest corners of the galaxy. Lieutenant Sora looked at the display, amazed. They're surrendering. They actually fear us, she said, disbelief in her voice. Kalen nodded. We have proven ourselves. Not through cruelty, but through strength, strategy, and unity, he said, eyes reflecting the brilliance of distant suns. This is what it means to be human, Rylan smiled, watching the alien ships scatter. We've shattered their fleet and their hope, he said. The galaxy will remember this day, but even in victory. Kalen remained vigilant. We cannot grow arrogant, he warned. Other threats exist, waiting, watching. But we are ready. The Invictus moved with silent speed, scanning the void, seeking any remaining danger. Its hull unscathed, its crew confident yet cautious. The humans aboard had turned an impossible battle into a triumph, their ingenuity and courage proving stronger than any weapon alone in the command center of the alien fleets. Panic reigned. Commanders argued and shouted. Their plans shattered, their forces broken. One alien leader whispered in disbelief, they are not just strong. They are unstoppable. Kalen turned to the bridge crew. Pride in his eyes. This is our moment, he said softly. But remember, we fight not for glory, but to protect humanity and all who depend on us." The humans aboard cheered quietly. Understanding the weight of their victory, the Invictus had not only destroyed the enemy fleets, it had sent a message across the stars. Humanity would not bow, would not falter, and would rise to every challenge. As the ship sailed through the emptiness, reports of alien worlds surrendering continued. The galaxy felt the shift in power. Humans were no longer just participants in the wars of space, they were a force, unstoppable and indestructible. Raylan walked past the bridge, looking out into the stars. "We've done something extraordinary," he said quietly. "The galaxy will remember the name Invictus." Kellen's gaze remained on the horizon of stars. Calm but proud. "The battleship is more than a weapon," he said. "It is a symbol of human courage, intelligence, and unity." The crew worked diligently, repairing minor damages, preparing for the next mission, aware that peace was temporary, and the universe would always bring new challenges, yet they were ready, confident in their strength and the might of the Invictus. As the ship moved into the vastness of space, a sense of hope filled the hearts of all aboard. Humans had faced impossible odds, encountered the deadliest threats, and emerged victorious, proving that determination, courage, and intelligence could overcome any challenge. The galaxy had seen the rise of humanity's ultimate weapon, a force that was not only indestructible but clever, brave, and united, leaving alien civilizations in awe and fear. Kalen looked at his crew, pride shining in his eyes. "Today we have triumphed, but tomorrow we remain vigilant," he said, calm and commanding, and as the stars stretched infinitely around them, the humans aboard the Invictus knew this was only the beginning. The first chapter of a new era in the galaxy, one where humans would stand tall, indomitable, and forever remembered. The ship glided silently through the cosmos, a symbol of hope and power, a beacon of humanity's spirit. And as the galaxy slowly recovered from the chaos, one truth was clear: humanity would never be underestimated again. The triumph of the Invictus was complete, its legend beginning, and the story of the indestructible human battleship would echo through the stars for generations to come.